Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our name suggests, we are an interfaith church, so we have a lot of opportunities to learn from each other and learn about new things and different ideas. Um, at this time, I'd like to ask our guest speaker, Adam Sipila, if he would do an invocation for us.
Good morning. Welcome. Good to see you all. Good to be with you and to those watching on the replay online as well. My invocation is to the sacredness of our bodies, an invitation into our remembered wholeness, an invitation in this time that we share today together to tune in to the wisdom of your own body. Move just a bit closer to yourself as we gather here together and also begin to appreciate the relational field that we create together between our bodies. Hmm. 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 Appreciating stillness and fluidity, appreciating when we find moments of stuckness and freeze. May we be with what is in the worlds of our bodies.
All right, well, welcome everybody once again. At this point, I'd like to read the statement of intent. The statement of intent, we are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. We invite you to join us in this celebration of life and to nourish your spirit and to enjoy the company of kindred souls. And speaking of kindred souls, let us greet our kindred souls with a hi, hello, a handshake, a hug, a how are you? If you choose to remain, you can choose to remain seated if you want to keep your social distance. But welcome, everybody. Oh, good to see. thing that happens is I get so cold now.
Totally.
All right, well, don't sit down just yet, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to sing our opening hymn in just a second here. Let there be peace on earth. You'll find the words on the white card in the pew ahead of you if you need those. So, Carol, my friend, would you please?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
All right, let's do some announcements. Give me 1 second here. I know Jasmine has a few announcements for us. Are you ready to start with announcements?
I'm going to do this one first so that I don't get a chance to overlook it. Sue has been reminding us for a while that we have a suggestion box on the table just inside the door, and someone finally used it. We're thrilled. It was a reminder for us to have as our intention what I will call prosperity and abundance for the church. And that means anything that we need as a spiritual community. That means the money to operate. It means attracting the right speakers to our spiritual community. It means attracting like-minded folks to our community. It means abundance in all ways. And one of the ways that we do address that as a group each week is in our unity principles. And I would say that the third one, we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. It's a reminder that we can be open for drawing in the prosperity that we need as a community each week when we're together. It's also a reminder that we can do this anywhere, anytime, for ourselves and for this community. So thank you for that suggestion. The book sale is becoming realer. Next Sunday, the 23rd, is the preferred drop-off day. We accept books, CDs, and DVDs. Amongst that, we do not accept textbooks, encyclopedias, or anything with that kind of musty odor from being stored in a basement or something like that. I will be here from 10 until a little after 1 to accept donations. I will be here during the week to rearrange the tables, so when you get here next week, it'll look a little different, but that way we can just start sorting right away. Assuming that our service ends at about 11:30 next week, as it usually does, at about 12:30, I will ask people to take their conversations elsewhere so that we can start using those tables. a couple of times the following week, and I haven't decided yet when those are, but I will announce them and put them on the church Facebook page. We'll be here probably one evening and one morning to finish the sorting. The happy news is that we do not price the books individually, so all we have to do is sort them into categories on different tables. On the 29th, which is the following Saturday, the sale will be open to the public from 9 to 1. And then on Sunday, the day of our annual meeting, the sale will be open from 10 until 1 again. So lots of opportunities to shop and stock up for your winter reading or viewing or listening. I do need someone to join me here one day briefly, someone who has a digital camera and the ability to upload a photo to Facebook, because one of the best forms of free publicity for this sort of thing is on a page called Facebook Marketplace. So if anybody could meet me one day this week or next week, that would be fantastic. Okay, enough about the book sale. The day of the annual meeting, the 30th, Reverend Phyllis McCoy will be our speaker. We will be having as brief a review as we can of our activities and accomplishments of the previous year. We will also elect the new board. I do want to say that a number of trustees who are currently serving are going to run again, but we are always looking for new blood, because each time the board is elected, we're essentially training people for the next board. We need to have turnover so that we can always have a fresh crop of folks to serve. I think that's it. I don't have my list this morning. Can you think of anything else, Sue? All right, well, I will wave my arm wildly if I think of anything else, but thank you for listening to this monologue.
All right. Thank you, Jasmine. Also, a couple of other things, just a couple of housekeeping things. Number one, please turn your phones to mute or do not disturb so we don't have anything interrupting us when we have lovely Adam speaking for us today. Also, the other thing I wanted to remind everybody of is that we do have a prayer/intentions bowl. And Jasmine, if you'd be so kind as to bring the bowl up. If you have somebody that you'd like to have prayers said for, or somebody going through something that they need to be prayed for, let us know. You can put your intentions either physically or intentionally in the bowl, and that will be prayed for throughout the service. Are there any current events or people that we need to pray for today? All the regular good things then. Everybody be happy, healthy, wise, and yeah, maybe we should send out an intention and prayers for Jerry and Jean. I noticed this is also I noticed that this is the second week they haven't been here. Let's all hope everything is good and well with them, and let's keep them in our intentions and our prayers for today. And with that, I guess it's time to read the announcements. I mean, not the announcements, the principles. I'm losing my thing today. All right, so we are been reading the unity principles. There should be a little piece of paper in the pew for you there. It's quick and easy. So we're doing the 5 basic unity principles. Number 1, read with me, folks. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, we are all inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. There is a power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our awareness of God. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. So at this time, I believe it is Adam is going to sing us or present us with some of his musical talent.
Thanks, Sue. In continuation of the invocation, I'd like to offer some music right now, just an improvisation, as well as welcome in, for me, what's feeling near to me right now is to welcome in our ancestors as well into this space. I want to say also, I'm really grateful for my parents, John and Carlene, my children, Vali and Anya. And I'm welcoming in my healed and whole ancestors, particularly from my pre-Finnish ancestry and the Germanic people that I come from. And invite you to welcome in those presences in your life, the connections in this moment that you feel inspired as you feel into the world of your body and how that reaches back through time also. Do I continue?
You surely may.
All right. What I wanted to talk about today is, the name of my talk is Relational Mindfulness and the Cultivation of Presence. And we'll see where the us that's here today brings what's shared. I have some notes, and I'm also excited to find out what the unique constellation of us brings forward. To begin with, I'd like to invite us into an embodiment meditation. So you may close your eyes or soften your gaze, whatever feels good for you in this. Take a moment and allow your awareness to move to your feet, to the soles of your feet. You just might notice the quality of the connection between your feet and the floor. And in this meditation, whatever comes to your awareness, whatever your experience is, see if you can just be with it. That may include moving into your thoughts more. And if you notice that happening, that's totally okay. But I'd invite you then to be with the quality of your thoughts. And for now, bring your awareness to your feet. Notice the connection of the soles of your feet to the floor. You might have a sense of underneath the floor, the earth. And just begin to appreciate, as you tune into your body, what happens in your experience when your attention is at your feet. Notice your breathing. And now briefly bring your awareness to the top of your head. Notice the difference in sensation as you bring your awareness to your head. You might notice the air, the sense of how it is on the skin of your head, connecting with the room through this space. And then briefly bring your awareness to the front of your body. Notice how you feel the space through your front. And allow your awareness now to pass through your midline, through your core, to your back body. And again, just noticing and appreciating the difference of experience here. Are you able to feel your back body as well as your front? You may notice in this meditation some areas may feel really alive, tingling, fluid. You might also experience some places that feel blurry or absent. And in this, we're just being with what is. If there's an absence, notice what that's like without trying to fix it or change it. Now I'd invite you to come, move your perception inward and invite your awareness to move down into your abdomen, into the area of your pelvis, and your whole abdominal cavity, from the base of the pelvic bowl up to the lower part of your diaphragm. See if you can really invite an awareness of your whole abdominal cavity. Begin to listen in to the sensations of your inner world. And now invite your awareness up into your chest, to the thoracic cavity, from the diaphragm up to the neck, including the heart and the lungs, this whole space. the ribs. And as you bring your awareness here, you might notice, what's the difference? What shifts? Is there a difference in density or expansiveness? Perhaps there's a difference in a feeling of temperature. How does it feel to rest your consciousness in your chest, in your thoracic cavity? What sensations do you notice there? And what's it like to listen from there? Now allow your awareness to move into your neural cavity. So this is your head, including your brain, but also extending all the way down your spinal column to your sacrum. Let's think of all this space, the head and the spine, as one continuous cavity, housing your central nervous system. What happens is you rest your awareness in your neural cavity. And now allow your awareness to expand out to a whole body awareness, connecting the abdominal cavity, the thoracic cavity, the neural cavity, your entire midline of your body, as well as your limbs, your feet on the floor. And also beginning to include the space just a couple of feet around your body, your own biosphere. And just appreciate and notice how this changes your experience. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and maybe begin to look around the room at some of the other people that are here, each with their own unique body world, their own inner exploration that's always happening, unfolding in the present. And as you look at the other people in the room, you might appreciate that they're also in you, like you're experiencing them in your own nervous system. Really appreciating their uniqueness, their individuality, and also that I'm seeing you and feeling you in me, and you're seeing me and feeling me in you. So relational mindfulness. When I say relational mindfulness, what I mean is a practice of being with what is in the present moment together in relationship. So a lot of us are familiar with mindfulness practice, where we're bringing our present moment awareness to our experience. So the practice we just did is a form of mindfulness called interoception, where we're really using our inner body sensing to notice our experience. And it's something, I love to repeat daily, becoming more intimate with my own body world and the subtle movements and motions and areas of stuckness or pain. I think that by bringing interoception as a daily practice, it's going to really assist us in our own healing and wholeness journeys, just as a subtle, simple way of appreciating what is in the body, in the moment, without needing to fix or change it, and welcoming in our body's inherent wisdom, our inherent, I believe that each body has its own inherent treatment plan, essentially. Hmm. So relational mindfulness, also called relatefulness, is where we can slow down enough to be conscious of the subtleties of our relating in the unfolding now. And then bringing that awareness of those subtleties of how we relate into relationship and into expression. This afternoon, after the service, I'll be offering a 2-hour workshop on relatefulness, where we'll go into a lot of these practices will pair off, and then we'll also have group practices. I'd like to invite us right now into a little bit of a group exploration. So what we'll do is we'll take turns as you feel comfortable. If silence is what you wants to express through you, that's totally welcome. Let's begin by noticing something in our experience of sensation. So when I say sensation, what I mean is I'm noticing right now my breath. I'm noticing a little bit of coldness on my left hand, or I'm noticing as I settle deeper, I can feel my bones kind of rooting in a bit more. I feel a little bit of a lightness in my heart, my chest. I feel like my left foot's just a bit heavier than my right. So you can, as you begin to just notice the subtle sensations, so if you feel up for it, let's popcorn style, just as you're inspired, might share out loud and see what that's like to share out loud. Here's what I'm noticing in my experience. And for this first moment, let's stick with sensation. Just the feelings, the bodily sensations.
My feet are tingly.
My right calf feels tight.
My fingers feel cool down to the palm of my hand. I feel warm in my shoes, but the outsides of my arms feel slightly cold. My eyes are fatigued.
Hmm.
My head is tingling like tingling.
Hmm. I'm beginning to notice my belly more, like kind of softening a bit. Now you might start to include in the sharing your emotional level of experience. So we can still share our sensations if that's what is most in your awareness, but then also let's include in our emotional experience. Like I'm feeling just like I had a little wave of nervousness just now, but some joy.
I feel a sense of expansiveness in my chest that seems to be expectant.
Hmm.
I feel a sense of space, but we're bumping into each other. Those here are like bumper cars. We're just kind of floating around and occasionally just kind of bonk against each other.
Hmm.
I feel the openness in the front face and noticing the right head area and also the same with my throat.
I feel the comfort of sitting next to my friend Jan as we can nap real nice.
Oh.
I feel a smile coming on.
Mm.
I feel like energy coming in and going out at the same time, like it's loading and diluted.
Mm. So this kind of simple practice in a group space, we begin to slowly create a coherence field in our relating, where we just get to start to feel each other and appreciate each other's experience a bit more. In the practice of relatefulness or relational mindfulness, we explore a lot of different practices where we're pairing up and sharing these things, but then also bringing our curiosity to each other to find out more, like what's that like? What's the deeper layer of that experience? And this can begin to cultivate a really potent relational field and a sense of group presence. And that's the other part of what I want to talk about today is presence and why that's, I think, so important in our individual lives, but also in the world. When I say presence, this morning I came up with a new definition of what that means for me right now. I came up with the words, so presence, I separated it into present essence, or resting in and relating from my essence in the present moment. Resting in and relating from my essence in the present moment. You might consider, what do you consider presence? Like, what does presence feel like? What does that evoke for you when you think of a sense of presence? So with my working definition for today, if I want to cultivate presence in my life, and I see that as resting from and relating from my essence, then how do I more deeply connect with and embody my essence? What does that even mean? And I want to share some of the ways that I've felt really inspired and led in the last several years is I think there's something to do with our healing and wholing, our sense of our wholeness journeys as individuals. And I think there's something to do with embodiment and a sense of inner union in our own experience. Yeah, by embodiment, I mean expanding our capacity for consciousness and love to move through, rest in, and express through our bodies. So that's my definition today of embodiment. And I think that our healing and wholeness, our sense of embodiment in the world, of what it is that we're expressing through and as, and also then leaning into attunement. And I'll get to that a bit later. So healing, the way that I'm experiencing it and exploring it is the reintegration of frozen life force energy from our past. And this is not to say this is a universal definition for everybody that's going to work. But what I'm exploring today is how can we orient to our healing and wholeness journeys as a reintegration of life force that may have at one point become frozen or stuck because things happened that were too much, too fast, or we had traumatic experiences in our upbringing, in our life, whether those were developmental traumas or shock traumas, impact traumas. And also appreciating that as we're born into these bodies, these body worlds, they also come with them ancestral connections, which can be beautiful, resilient sources of our being in the world, and can also come with stuck areas kind of in the root system, or areas that may want some attention and some love. Yeah. And then also beyond the personal and the and the ancestral aspects, we have a collective body that we're born into as well. And we're born into this world where right now we have huge sheets of frozen kind of collective traumas, whether those be from genocides or racism or sexism, or the list goes on and on. Different wars that are currently unfolding where there's new areas of collective trauma happening in the world. And what I'm shouting out today is that individual cultivation of our individual presence, of getting really intimate with our own essence and moving in the direction of more truth and love through various methods of healing of ourselves, coming into a sense of remembered wholeness, and then learning how we really want to embody, like I really enjoyed the final principle, like we must live them, like just talking about them not enough. So for me, that's what embodiment is about, is how do we allow our integrated life force and sense of wholeness to then come through us into active service in the world. The last many years, I'm 44 now, it was about 5 years ago where I began to have deeper inklings of kind of my deepest core wounds that had been just kind of stuck and frozen for decades. A few years ago, I came into a remembrance of childhood sexual abuse, and then that moving deep into that core wound, which took several years to really, and is ongoing the rest of my life, undoubtedly, the layers of that core wound experience. As I moved into and really slowly and lovingly approached that in my body and the places of stuckness, of frozenness that appeared, and for me, that a lot of that unfolding was through craniosacral therapy, bioenergetics, different movement and embodiment practices. I'm really a firm believer in some sort of somatic, body-based approach to our healing, along with all the other wonderful forms of cognitive therapy and things that are out there that I think are really wonderful parallel tracks. But I do believe in the power of somatic, really deeply in touch with our body forms of healing. As I moved through these various methods toward and really loved and was able to be with my deepest pain, it was astounding to notice after many decades of just that being unconscious because of how young I was, so pre-verbal, that I got to see and feel this web of healing begin to happen in my body and in my relationships. I had been married and divorced twice, and a big part of that was my own difficulty in being in such close, intimate relationship, the deep impacts of that trauma. And I'm bringing this up just to personalize it a little bit, but also to say that we all have what we have in this life. We all come in, and I don't think I've met a human being who has escaped unscathed some form of developmental trauma or impact trauma. And then the choice that we have is, how do we respond when we become aware? How do we respond? What I found in my own wholeness journey in addressing and being with these deep places of pain and of split offness or of frozenness, as I've been able to welcome in and unthaw that frozen life force, it's really reignited my own passion also for, I want that for myself. I'd love for others to be able to experience their own sense of wholeness, but also I want that relationally. Like, I want to find out, where's the stuck places between you and I? Where are the collective places of frozen life force? What are the ways that we can really choose to lean into our collective liberation? And I think that the cultivation of presence in ourselves and then in groups is the best way that I've learned to slowly move forward in this path. I'd like to invite for a moment again, just a moment, as I've spoken into some of these things, I'm like want to be aware that speaking about abuses, speaking about these things may surface things for others, whether they're related to the same types of trauma or not. Just even talking about these things can stir things up for us. So I want to bring like compassion and awareness to that. Just maybe notice, check in with your nervous system, your central channel, your chest, your solar plexus, your belly, your pelvis, your head. Just notice your body world for a moment. Notice how it is. Is there any stuckness? Is there any sense of freeze or tension? Fear, perhaps? Or is there a sense of ease and flow, joy? Maybe there's anger or a sadness. Just taking a moment to appreciate what's it like for me now. And if you do find a place in you that feels maybe tense or contracted, I'd invite you to just bring your presence, the essence of you that is love and consciousness itself, a bit closer to that contraction. And just notice what happens as you bring your presence without needing to do anything to the contraction. And if you're not feeling a contraction, just appreciating what it's like to connect with that of you which is eternal, consciousness and love. And what effect that has in your body. Appreciating if any discharge happens, if you notice yourself yawning or any part of your body loosening or tingling, changes in temperature. I'd like to invite us into another round of sharing. What are you noticing now? And let's include our sensations, our emotions, and also the quality of our thought world, if that's part of your experience. So when we include the thoughts, rather than in this moment going into, oh, I'm thinking about ... maybe, oh, I notice my thoughts feel racing, or I notice my thoughts are fluid and vast. So more about the quality of thought. And I may interact with you a little bit in this time. So again, as you feel comfortable to share, either from your sensation, emotion, any part of your experience that you notice emerging now.
I totally relate to what you said about the past.
Hmm. Hmm.
It just makes me want to cry.
Mm. 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 Thank you for sharing. I feel my own tenderness kind of open to myself and to you in that. I really feel my heart more clearly right now? What's it like to share?
It's good to share, I know that.
How does it feel in this moment? Yeah,
It's hard to sometimes.
yeah. Hmm. I notice feeling both my tenderness, but also like honor and respect. Hmm.
Yes, I feel a softness that came with the speaking, Jen, in my heart. And so thank you. It feels like two tall trees making guided sanctuary spaces.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I simultaneously was starting to get in touch with my girl in the woods, playing, happy,
Hmm.
and the contrast with being at home and having to do chores.
Hmm.
And that was not an easy transition for me, ongoing.
Hmm. Hmm.
My stomach felt tense at first, but then hearing other people talk, it kind of like released it more.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I've been following a Facebook group that exists just to appreciate the work of Georgia O'Keeffe.
Hmm.
So what I'm seeing behind my eyelids are some of her paintings of hills. And it's sheerly organic. There are no straight lines.
Hmm.
There are no hard turns. There are curves and earth and just ease and a strange kind of ease.
Hmm. Thank you all for sharing. And the final thing I'd like to mention is I think another beautiful tool in this path of cultivating our own presence is attunement. And so, like at the beginning, we did the interoception practice where we're really moving into our inner world, learning to begin to sense and practice sensing the subtle motions and movements in our own bodies, in our own emotions, in our own thoughts. Then attunement is a practice of really trying to accurately sense another's experience, their world, their nervous system. And part of this relational mindfulness practice, we explore a lot of different practices and how to do that and how to differentiate between when we're projecting our experience onto another and assuming that what we're feeling is what they're feeling, and then really getting into that area of accurate attunement where I'm really with me, I feel you feeling me, and I'm really having a clearer sense. And I get to check in these practices, like checking, hey, does that feel right for you? Then we really get to get the feedback in real time, in relationship, how it really is for another person. So attunement to me is like that interoception practice of going within and feeling our own experience, but in a relationship. So, and within that, when we're able to learn and really lean into attuning with each other and really appreciating being impacted by each other, which is happening all the time anyways. It's like always already here. But when we can begin to bring words and bring a little bit more awareness and presence into that experience, we begin to cultivate a particular group presence through learning to attune, learning to move into our own embodied experience, welcoming in our own healing and wholeness. And why is this, the reason this is so important to me is like, every time that I experience a new freeing up of stuck or frozen life force in my own body, I'm like, it's difficult, it's challenging, but then it's so beautiful. I'm like, this is more of me. This is more of who I really am. And then when we get to do that in relationship and be with those relational layers, we get to find out more of who we are. And then when we extrapolate that into the world, into the collective, including the more than human world, we really then get to glimpse who we are. And for me, like that's what I'm here for. I like want intimacy with myself. I want deep intimacy with who I am, and I want to find out who we really are. And then what do we decide to do from there as we come into a deeper sense of our collective wholeness? What do we get to do? Where do we get to move? What do we get to create? So that's what's in it for me. And I really appreciate the time to speak and share. And if we just scratched the surface on a couple of practices, and I would love to have you join at one for the workshop if you're interested. And if it doesn't work for you today, I'm going to be continuing to do more of that. So no worries if today doesn't work for you. Let's see if there's anything else I want to leave with. I'd like to play my drum for one more moment. And really thank all of you for your courage to share what's real for you in the moment, and gratitude for my ancestors and whoever else you've invited in here today to be of support. And yeah. Thank you.
No, whatever you want to play for offering. Oh.
74 in the silence. Which we sing that now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In Wings of Song.
And while we're singing in the silence with Wings of Song, number 74, can I ask someone to bring forward the basket for our offering, please? Thank you. Thank you all for your offerings. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. All right. So at this point, I think we're running kind of, yeah, running a little late. So I will read the church affirmation. It is on the white card in the pew in front of you. And so if you want to join me in the church affirmation, we totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. So with that, would you like to give a benediction for us here?
Yeah, the theme for me today is really in praise of the body and really appreciating the deep humanness and divinity of the worlds of our body.
All right, and so Cal, we gather in our little circle up here and we'll sing our closing song, God Be With You. And if you want to bring the card up with you, the words are on the card.